Eventually, and probably sooner rather than later, you're bound to run into a broken animation. It happens to everyone, so don't feel bad if you do. But with a little foresight, you can avoid most broken animations completely, and when they do pop up, you can fix them quickly with a minimum of hassle. There are 3 clues that Flash can give you that tell you something is wrong with your animation. First, the animation doesn't work. This one's pretty obvious. If this is the case, look for the next 2 clues. The second one is, instead of a long arrow, you might just see dotted lines. Again, that's fairly obvious. This tells you that your animation is broken. Third, you might see something in the library called tween1 or similar. These are automatically created by Flash when you do something, like trying to motion tween simple graphics instead of instances of symbols. Let's have a look at this one right now. I'll get rid of what I have here on the stage and start over. I'll just draw a rectangle. Now we'll go out to the end, add a keyframe using the F6 key, delete the original rectangle, and draw another one over here. Okay, back to frame 1. Let's add some motion tweening. And in the timeline, the tween actually looks okay. You see a long arrow. But let's play it and see what happens. It moves, but it really doesn't end up in that long flat rectangle like we thought it would. So let's have a look in the library. What I've just done has automatically created tween3 and tween4. In this case, Flash has automatically converted my objects into symbols in the library and then placed instances of these symbols before applying the tween in an attempt to make the tween work. Well, obviously it didn't. Sometimes your animation might look okay when you have these tween1 or tween2 or tween3 symbols in here, but more often than not it won't. Really, the only way to deal with this is either to take one of these, copy it over to the end, and then make your modifications, or select it, break it apart, and start over. If you do this, it might be a good idea to remember that you still have these things sitting in the library. Even though you break apart an instance of a symbol on the stage, the original symbol stays there. So if you don't need it, select it and get rid of it. So let's have a look now at a couple of the things we can do when our animations are broken. First, double check that the objects at the start and at the end of your tween are the right type for the type of tweening you are attempting. Simple graphics for shape tweening, as we've been having a look at in the last few lessons, and instances of library symbols for motion tweening. Second, if you are motion tweening, make sure that the objects at the beginning and the end of the tween are instances of the same library symbol. It has to be the exact same one. Believe it or not, this one is very common. So in this case, I'll just click. It's called symbol 1. And I'll take a copy of it and paste it out here. Apply motion tweening. And now we can modify the one at the end. Just about all we want. And because we're using the same symbol at the beginning as we are at the end, our tween works. Okay, next one. Again, if you are motion tweening, make sure that you have only one object on the layer you're working on. In my case, this is layer 62. I can only have one object at frame 1 and one object at frame 30. You cannot tween multiple objects at the same time unless they are on separate layers using separate tweens. let's go back to frame 30, and I'll paste in a copy again of this thing I had from frame 1. Now you see, we have a dotted line. That's Flash telling us that we've done something wrong. Part of the tween looks okay, but at the end it screws up and it's not what we want. So make sure only one object is on each layer. As soon as I delete that, our animation's fixed again. Now for text fields, to motion tween them, you'll need to nest them inside a symbol. Let me just get rid of these, and we'll have a look at that. I'll create some text here. Okay, if I go over here to the end and copy this, incidentally you can do this by hitting Edit and Copy, and then paste it in the end, and say move it over here. So we do have the exact same thing at the beginning as we do at the end, and then try to motion tween it. It looks okay, but again we have these tween symbols in the library. And while it may look alright here, it's probably not the cleanest way to design your Flash movies. So I'll break the first one apart, get rid of the second one, nest it inside a symbol in the library by hitting F8, or convert to symbol here, change it into a symbol, again take a copy of that, go out to the end and paste. The animation looks the same on the surface, but you don't end up with all that messy stuff in your library.